Welcome everyone to another episode of the Train Studio. I'm your host, Sean Morris. Today on the Train Studio, we're going to be having a look at another couple AK Interactive products. This specific video will focus in on the rust effect, but I also wanted to highlight that they have a similar effect in their patina. The products that come in the box are exactly what you need. This is literally the easy button in terrain making, and I'd have a hard time steering you away from this rust effect if you were just approaching doing rust for the first time. And even if you have been doing rust for a while, I still think that there's a lot to be had in the product itself. So in the video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing an application here on the terrain piece that I have, a piece that I've been working on here in studio. As I was getting ready and prepping for this video, I started thinking about all the great partnerships and friendships that I've made along the way in the hobby community. And while I don't have one with AK Interactive, I'll certainly highlight good products. Good products are just good to use, and so my recommendations are always made from the actual techniques and applications that I have in studio. I won't give you any bad product advice, and I will give you my honest opinion on that. But as I was thinking about that and sort of speaking about this, I was thinking about my good friend Aaron at Back to Basics. Aaron has been a long time supporter of my channel, and we've grown into a real actual friendship. And so I was going to pull out some Back to Basics brushes here. I've had these brushes for probably like 12 years. Aaron sent these to me like a gazillion years ago, and I've got a lot of use out of them. So I thought, hey, you know what? I'll highlight this as I really like to highlight a number of things that I'm using here in studio. So we're going to set the other product aside, and we're going to get out the rust effect here. And so in the bottle, what you're going to get is a really heavy and viscous bottle of iron. And it is paint, but it is the heaviest bottle that I've ever come across. It almost feels like there's ball bearings in it. And then with that, there's an oxidizing agent as well. One of the cool things I think that AK has done for their customers is that you can actually buy the oxidizing agent as well as the iron paint as well as the bronze that comes in the other package, all separately. So if you end up using all your oxidizing agent or run out of a particular paint that works with it, you can go ahead and purchase that without having to purchase a new kit, which I think is fantastic. So for this, what we're going to be doing is focusing in on this specific area, the one I'm highlighting here with the paintbrush right now. And I want to point out that this is not actually plastic card, this is wood. And so this will be the first time live here in studio that I'll actually be applying the rust effect to wood. A little foreshadowing, it doesn't work quite the same as it does on plastic, and I'll highlight that as we go through. So the very first thing that you want to do is obviously put down your iron effect. Now, I've already done that off camera because I wanted to have it nice and dry for you. But once it's dry, then you can come with the oxidizing agent. I've always left it really overnight to make sure that it has a really strong adherence as well. I'm just highlighting here that the bronze effect works in a very similar effect. You put it down, it's a very rich bronze color, by the way. So if you're doing any statues, it might just be a great thing, even if you aren't planning to give a patina effect to it. So here I'm just decanting a little bit of the oxidizing agent into the cup here, and I'm going to go ahead and focus in on the bottom portion of these wood slats here. The application is really up to you how generous you want to be with it. The more liquid that you put down, the more agent that you put down, likely the higher concentration of rust. I'm trying to make this really more subtle. I don't want it to be super sharp. And one of the things that I was thinking about as I was doing this is the absorption. And so the wood is obviously going to absorb the agent a little bit quicker than plastic. Obviously, it's not going to pool on the surface. And you'll see the end result of that. And of course, I can go down and add some other effects to that. And I'll speak a little bit about how to enhance this, because I think one of the great things about hobbying is not only just using stuff out of the package as is, but really experimenting with other products, how to bring things in combination, and how to work the materials to give the desired effect. And sometimes you don't get it right out of the bottle, and sometimes you don't get it on the first try. But I also want to highlight that that's a large portion of what I do here in studio, trying to save you guys a little bit of cash down the road for buying the wrong products, or just knowing how to use the products when you get them, so you don't end up wasting it. Because let's face it, hobby cash is hard to come by sometimes. And you want to make sure that you stretch your hobby dollars as far as possible. So I'm just going to go ahead and continue along the bottom here, and then I'm going to come back along the back side, so we'll bring you back in on that clip. Stay tuned. All right, so what you're seeing here on the screen is a real-time working effect here, so no camera tricks or speeding up here. What I decided to do is just go a little bit along the top and sort of recess it in there. There's a little lip there. That is actually plastic cards right above, and it is the wood effect underneath. And so I'm just running this into the recesses for the intent of doing a little bit of streaking effect. So as you're putting this down, again, like I said, just be careful of the pooling. If you don't want to have a really rich effect, you're going to want to space it out a little bit. You can see kind of like how viscous even the reacting agent is. And so it won't run or streak like other effects unless you intentionally manipulate it to do such. So I'm about to do that here right now on camera. I'm just pulling it down. This is obviously going to dilute both the concentration at the top as well as sort of unify the top and bottom, but with the concentration being at the bottom and the top, and that's just kind of my desired effect here. So nothing really that is spectacularly complicated here. Just achieving the result. I have done other things where I've really just pooled the agent right on top and left it really thick and really just layered on there. What you will notice is that you will get a bit of a white sort of effect in some areas, specifically if you put the reacting agent on areas where you don't have the iron oxide paint or the bronze in the case of the patina effect. And so you will have to clean that up or just be really careful with your application. I'm going to show you a couple other pieces where I didn't care about being careful, and you'll see that sort of white. It's almost like a kind of like a mold. It's like a whitish powder that appears on there, and so just be cognizant of that. It is a natural effect of using this, is what I've found, and it's easy to clean up, or you can just paint over it without any complications. So let's skip this and get to the end result. I am going to set this aside for about 20 minutes, so that will be the next transition. I'll come back in about 20 minutes to show you the actual effect and what it looks like. All right, guys, so we're now back after about 20 minutes of letting it set up, and you're going to see on camera here exactly how that rust effect has taken place. So you can see that the concentration is specifically around the bottom, and it sort of just follows and emulates exactly where I put the concentrations. The recessed amount at the very top you're going to see is a little bit in the shadow, and again, remember we use the streaking effect to kind of bring that down. And so for me, I didn't want to have a heavy, fresh rust deposit in this particular stage, and you'll see later on if you're following the Patreon content as to where this piece is going and what the look is going to ultimately look like. But one of the other things I wanted to highlight, and I didn't specifically talk about this before, but is the texturizing effect that iron paint creates. It's actually a really fantastic just texturization. So if you did nothing with the rust effect at all, but you wanted to kind of have that sort of crusted iron look, the paint will do that right out of the bottle, which is pretty fantastic. I'm going to show you a couple other examples here, other pieces that I've worked on here on Studio, and you can just see the actual deposits that you can get. So there's that sort of white, sort of mossy effect on the ground that I was talking about. And again, this is where the oxidized agent has just got onto the surrounding effects. It's easily painted over. In this case, like I said, I'm just going to be putting some more raw burn brown over it anyway, so it won't really matter. But what I wanted to show you is where the agent pools, and you can see right there in the crux of that tank trap, you will get some significantly deposited rust effects there. And again, it's going to give you a much more subtle sort of worn rust effect. This isn't going to be your fresh rust that you would achieve with a few other products, and I'll pop those in the side here in a second because I'm going to talk a little bit about those as well. So I was really happy with the effect both on the piece that I did for the video as well as this one, because I did want to have sort of those deposits, and naturally the agent's going to pool in areas where you may naturally accumulate some rust. So the product itself will do the work for you. You may have to manipulate here and there, and so don't be discouraged. Test pieces are always recommended, but that's up to you. And then lastly, I just wanted to show you that I've done the effect as well, and this is actually a piece where I've used the combined products, and I'll talk about those in an upcoming second here. A little bit of contrast there. I just moved it so you can see the little bit brighter in the background of the gray here. So this is again done with the exact same technique. I took the coil, I dumped it into the oxidizing paint, brushed it all off so that it wasn't overly accumulated. Then I went and let it dry, dipped it into the oxidizing agent, and then just allowed it to naturally pool and run off the coil. I just hung it to dry so that it didn't pool around the bottom. It actually sort of followed the coil down, and I let gravity do a little bit of work on that. So in order to get this effect after you've achieved it with the oxidizing agent, you're going to want to bring in a few other products. And for this, I'm going to recommend a couple things here. So one will be the crusted rust. This is the light rust deposit. That's going to be that brighter sort of rust that you can see on there. And this stuff does have a little bit of texturization to it. And so what I did for that was I actually did another dip, and then I just gave it a little spin to let the rust actually sort of accumulate and sort of naturally flow over the coil, again using gravity to let it sort of drip off, and then keeping the coil separated so I didn't get any weird like binding with the paint, because it will actually create a little bit of a bind, as most acrylic products have a little bit of adhesive properties to them. If I wanted to go back to this piece here, which I probably will a little bit in the areas that are most built up, so I'll probably bring in a little bit of the light rust. And one of the things you can do too, if you find that you put it on and it's overly bright for you, don't forget there is a nice trick with these products that you can come in with some white spirits after it's fully dried and just rehydrate the area and then pull it off, and it will actually dilute that. If you want to go for a little bit of a darker rust, as opposed to the light here, you can use the standard rust, the crusted rust. Again, a little bit viscous, and then you can complement that on there. I'm showing you a couple mission model paints here that do line up quite nicely with the AK stuff, and so if you have those, or if you're looking to sort of paint a little bit of background area first and then just use the crusted deposits ever so slightly because they will add a texture, you can do that, as well as the standard rust by Mission Models. That mirrors up nicely with the crusted rust deposits from AK. So again, speaking earlier about the combination and really using a combination of things to make the desired effect look as cool as possible. So hopefully you guys appreciate that. Again, straight out of the bottle, go check out that AK Rust Effect. It is fantastic. I've been having a ton of fun with it. I've been recommending it very strongly. Local hobby store here has it, so if you can pick it up local, fantastic. If not, go ahead and order it off AK directly. So thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate that. If you guys are subbed to the rest of the Patreon channel, fantastic. Thank you. Appreciate that. If you're not, maybe consider it. Catch you in the next video. Cheers.